Hey, it's Paulo Brandt, owner of Clear to Close Mortgage Brokers. If you're thinking about getting solar, you really need to be aware of what's going on in the solar industry, especially how it relates to NEM 2.0 going to NEM 3.0. Now, what does NEM mean? NEM means or stands for Net Energy Metering. So, for example, right now, maybe not right now because it's stormy, but my solar panels on a beautiful sunny day is getting electricity, and all unused electricity that my house doesn't use gets purchased into a bank account by the utility company at a rate of 30 cents per kilowatt hour. Now, I really don't know what that means. I'm going to be honest with you, but I can tell you if I get my electricity, if I get my solar at under the NEM 3.0, that 30 cents per kilowatt hour is going to go to 5 cents per kilowatt hour. Now, I am not a very smart man, but I can tell you that if someone's going to give me 5 cents or 30 cents, my electricity bill is going to be much higher under NEM 3.0 than it will be under 2.0. So if you're thinking about getting solar, make the appointment with Jamie, the Solar Queen. She'll go over your options. What she's going to ask for and have prepared for is 12 months of energy bill statements. If you want to watch the interview, I'm going to share it with you here in about a minute, where she goes through all the details in a really nice conversation with Jamie. So if you have any questions for me, let me know. Otherwise, if you're going to get energy, I would definitely get it before April 15th. So Paulo Brandt's Clear to Close Brokers. If I can help you anyway, let me know. Otherwise, enjoy the interview. Take care. Hey everybody, Paulo Brandt's Clear to Close Brokers. Sitting here with Jamie Green, the Solar Queen, aka the Solar Queen of Nevada. Jamie, how are you?
I'm excellent, Paul. How are you?
Good. Can you see my
Oh,
cup?
look at you.
So Jamie did our solar for our house, Danielle and I. And I love this because every day, I won't say every day, but I would say about 3 or 4 days a week, this is my morning coffee cup, and it says, Paul, make it a great day and shine bright like the sun. Right on, Jamie.
Aw,
That's a great one. I love that. Thank you.
you're welcome. I'm
So
happy to see you using it.
absolutely. So the reason we're doing this is there's some major changes coming to solar, and I know some people are on the fence whether they want to get it or maybe they're going to get it later in the year. But after talking with Jamie yesterday, it seems like if you're going to get solar, there's a window that I think it's between now and April, that there's major benefits to do so between now and April. And after April, you lose a lot of the benefits. So let's start with the current benefits, Jamie. So when you get solar, why would people get solar? There's two things that people usually ask me why. And then branching off there, there's always the lease or the buy. So there's so much there. So let's go ahead and open it up here. So why do people normally get solar? I almost said sober, but solar.
Well, that's always a good thing too.
Yeah.
Uh, so people get solar. They think it's because they're going to help the planet, and that is a very noble thing, and it is a thing that happens. But if you ask 95% of people, the reason why they go solar is to save money.
100%. I agree.
I mean, that's why.
I agree.
Yeah. So it's to save
Yep.
money. There are a few benefits. Saving money is the 1st one. Helping the planet fight global climate change and everything. Energy independence and owning your power. So being
That's
your own
huge.
power plant, basically using a roof to do that. So yeah.
Well, let's just start with the saving money because that's really easy. So I live in a house, I think it's 3,800 square feet. I have 4 kids, 4 dogs, and a cat. And if you're here, especially I think it's like 50 degrees outside, people in my house are walking around in like tank tops and shorts because my daughters and my wife, they love the heat on. And during the summer, right, when it's a little bit warm, they love the AC on. And I can tell you that our bills on a month-to-month basis are less than $100 each month, when before that, I think they were upwards, Danielle told you, $600 or $700 a month. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but they were up there. They were up there.
Yeah, 7. I think one of them was $800.
I can believe it. It was to a point where every time I heard the heater on, I just felt like turn it down or get a sweater on or something like that. And then Danielle and I decided to reach out to you, right? We got solar, and now I'm not worried about it at all because we're generating our own electricity, and we're saving a lot of money. So that's a great thing as well. The thing, though, that I don't quite understand, and hopefully you can explain it to me, is we talked a little bit about this. We don't have a battery, And so
Right.
during the day, we're probably getting more energy than we're using. What happens with that?
So when people in California go solar, they go into an agreement with the utility company. So ours in Northern California is primarily Pacific Gas and Energy, or PG&E.
Okay.
You traditionally, when people are paying the utility company for two things, electricity and gas, there is this there's a third party clean energy agency that a lot of people are enrolled in called Marin Clean Energy, or East Bay Clean Energy, Sonoma Clean Energy, San Jose. There's all these third party clean energy agencies that people opt into. So what that means is when people go solar, they're eliminating the PG&E and that third party clean energy generation portion. The people who opted into that said, yes, I want some clean energy in the form of wind and solar. And that's basically it. So when someone like you and Danielle go, we want solar, we're going to put it on, and what's that going to do to our PG&E bill? It's going to eliminate those generation, transmission, and distribution charges, which is how you're being charged for electricity.
Okay.
Those rates continue to climb by 8 to 15% year after year, compounding. So that's significant for the homeowner who maybe uses 1,000 kilowatt hours a month, but that's, as rates increase, it gets more and more expensive, even though their usage hasn't changed.
So in a sense, right? So if you're just using the same power, right?
It just gets more expensive every year.
Every month, yeah, and you're not. It may seem you're using more power, but you're really not. It's
but
just
you're really not.
Electricity is getting more expensive with everything else is as well.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
So you enter into what's called a net metering or net energy metering agreement with the utility for 20 years,
okay,
which is generous. Like 20 years of this net metering. So like you were saying, when your solar system is generating power for you during the day and you don't have a battery, anything that's not being used that's generated on your rooftop it's like literally physically spinning your smart meter backwards and exporting to the grid.
Okay. It's like right now.
Right now, well, you're probably generating some energy.
Yeah, it's a little
you're probably generating some energy, but not the full capacity. Firstly, because we're in the middle of winter.
Right.
Secondly, it's a rainy day. I was going to pull up my Tesla app and see what my energy. Yeah, we're told there's not really anything being generated right now. In fact, I'm pulling 0.2 kilowatt hours, less than a kilowatt hour a day per hour right now from the grid. But when you're in the summertime, in the height of summer, you're going to be spinning that meter backwards, exporting it to the grid, and any excess energy that's generated before 4 p.m. is considered a non-peak kilowatt hour.
Okay.
So that time from 9 p.m. to 4 p.m. every single day is called non-peak time.
Okay.
If you generate power during non-peak time, which is when the vast majority of our energy is being generated throughout the year, we get a credit.
Okay.
That's sent to the grid and stamped or accounted for with PG&E with your net metering.
Okay.
Think of it like a bank account.
Sure.
You're just depositing these net metering credits. Meanwhile, the utility is selling that power at retail rates to your neighbors.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, that's literally what's happening.
That's smart on their side.
They're not having to generate all this power hundreds and hundreds of miles away.
Right.
And then distribute it and transmit it through all the power lines. I mean, your neighbors are actually getting clean energy.
That's awesome.
To some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're profiting off of your energy that you're generating.
Yeah.
But they say in exchange for that, they're going to give you a net metering credit to use at nighttime or later on in the year.
Okay.
Okay, so remember... Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so in other words, after 4 p.m. when we stop the net, and let's say during the winter and it starts getting dark, and let's just assume today's a beautiful sunny day, right? Yeah. And so at night when I'm not generating electricity because of my solar, I'm actually pulling power from PG&E, but from PG&E because I've given them power, I have credits there, so I may not be paying dollar for dollar for that energy used. In fact, depending on how much I give to them, that's why my energy bill is so low, right?
Yeah,
Kind
well,
of.
here's the other part of peak. Now, from 4 to 9 p.m., those are
Yep.
peak hours.
Yep.
And that is everyone. There are still people left on the tiered billing system, the billing system, and that's where it used to be, where power was. You had an allowance in tier 1 for 300 kilowatt hours, and if you went beyond that, you go into tier 2. And if you went beyond that, even 6 years ago, you go into tier 3 and tier 4.
Right.
Utility companies a few years back go, let's eliminate those 3 and 4 and just go high surcharge. So this is if people are still on the tiered system. And I have a bill right here where they're still on the tiered billing cycle. They use 1,600 kilowatt hours and they paid $700 for 1,600 kilowatt hours. Is because half of the time, 800 kilowatt hours was spent in high surcharge.
Okay.
And that's 50 cents a kilowatt hour.
So after you use a certain amount of energy, you go to a different tier, assuming you're on that tier.
Yeah.
And so like in my house, unfortunately, I was probably always on the top tier because we always used
until
power.
you got solar. Yeah.
Yep, until we got solar.
So
Right.
but what PG&E has been doing slowly but surely, and other STE and SDG&E, because you service people throughout the state of California, so it applies to all these 3 major utilities. When they've been slowly but surely moving everyone over to time of use, so 4 to 9 peak and everything else off peak.
Got you.
So the net metering doesn't stop right at 4 p.m. It just means like in the summer, if you're generating power still between 4 and 9 p.m., you're actually banking peak kilowatt hours, a value of a peak kilowatt hour.
Okay.
That's good because then in the wintertime, you're not generating as much energy, if any at all, during those peak hours. So you want to build those up to be able to debit and use from them.
Got you.
Those peak kilowatt hours
Right.
in the wintertime.
Okay.
So it's just one big bank account, that smart meter of ours that everybody has on the side of their house.
Right.
It's a digital timestamp of when power is exporting and when you're importing the power.
Okay.
Meaning you're not solar powered right now, so we're importing power from the grid.
Got you.
So for those that don't have a battery, you think of PG&E as your big backup battery.
Okay. That makes sense.
That's a great way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so like right now, so that's what's going on right now, right?
Yes. 20-year agreement.
20 years.
Export import 1-to-1, but with that caveat of 4 to 9 p.m. is a little more expensive.
That makes
And
sense.
if you overproduce, there's a couple other things. You have an annual true-up, which means you settle the account with PG&E.
Okay.
If you use 15,000 kilowatt hours a year, and your solar system generated 16,000 kilowatt hours, you would have a net credit of 1,000 kilowatt hours that PG&E would pay you for that excess credit.
It's huge.
If you use 15,000 kilowatt hours, but your solar system only was designed to either produce 12,000 kilowatt hours, or it was extra fire season and rain and all that, and it just underproduced, you would be responsible for paying PG&E the balance, or 2,000 kilowatt hours
Okay. Makes
of
sense.
energy.
Yeah.
So there's a true up annually that happens, and all the credits that are generated throughout the year and debited from is kind of like back in the day with rollover cell phone minutes. Remember the Nokia
Oh my God, I
phones?
can't believe you said that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
T-Mobile or
That's
whatever
hilarious.
it was, or
Yeah,
flip phone.
Yeah.
Razors, I think they were called razors,
Yeah.
and they had rollover minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how net metering 2.0 is right now. And
Okay.
you pay a connection fee to the utility of about $10 to $11
Wow.
just to be solar powered.
Okay.
So that's what NEM 2.0 is. And when you get it, you're grandfathered in for 20 years, and that's a wonderful thing. What's happening on April 15th or April 14th
Okay.
is the utilities have won this battle against the state of California, all the businesses and homeowners.
Yeah.
They've got the CPUC, which is the California Public Utility Commissioners, to agree on passing NEM 3.0, Net Energy Metering 3.0, which is going to greatly reduce that buyback, what they pay in excess,
Okay.
and there's not a 20-year agreement. So it's for the first 9 years of being solar powered, if you sign a contract after April 14th, let's call it,
Mhm.
they're going to give you, for any excess energy that you generate, they're going to give you 5 cents a kilowatt hour.
I mean, what are they giving me now? I don't. It's hard to.
Retail. They're giving you retail.
What is retail?
Within that year. Retail's right now, the retail rate, the exchange rate of
About.
kilowatt hours, 32 cents for non-peak, 38 cents for peak.
Are you serious? So it's going to go down that much?
Yes. 5 to 8 cents a kilowatt hour for 9, and then after 9 years, it's going to reduce down again, probably like to 2 to 3 cents. So pennies.
So
like
basically, you're not
pennies.
going to get any benefits. I mean, not nearly the benefit from the excess solar that you're using.
Right.
That you're not using. Excuse me.
Yeah, and the other thing that's happening is instead of the annual true up,
Yep.
you true up monthly. So why this is important is because the vast majority of homeowners in California are using energy, the most amount of energy in the summertime because of air conditioning.
Okay.
I like to explain the solar production curve like heads and shoulders. Like, Paul, your right shoulder is January. The top of your head is July, and then your left shoulder is December. We are at the lowest production rate right now, just the nature of solar and our just the nature of how solar works, production works. But we're still using power.
Right.
Like at your ear level, you're still using about that much power. And if solar is here and your ear is here, you have to pay true up every month. What solar doesn't produce for you, you have to pay the utility company for what they imported to your house.
Gotcha.
So you're paying an electricity bill. And traditionally what people have done under NEM 2.0 is they finance the system or they lease the system. And they have a fixed payment for that energy.
Right.
Because they're buying equipment. They're buying the equipment in exchange of not using the utility as much, right? So they have a payment, an equipment payment. Well, let's say that equipment payment is $100, but your PG&E bill used to be $150. You are like technically cash flowing $50. You're saving $50 a month, which is that's a wonderful deal.
Right.
But if you're paying a $100 payment, but your electricity bill in January now becomes $125 because that's how much energy you pull from the grid at the going rates. Now all of a sudden your solar energy, even though it's going to produce here, now you're paying $225 because of net metering 3.0, because they're switching the way that they bill solar powered customers.
Right.
It's no longer the rollover.
I love that, using this right here, July. Wouldn't you get a refund here though?
So yeah, you would, but at that 8 cents, 5 or 8 cents.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And there's something called levelized cost of electricity, and that's it's crazy, right? But it's basically taking a 25-year period, what you pay for the system, and dividing it by the amount of kilowatt hours the system is expected to generate for 25 years. And the levelized cost of electricity when you're getting solar up until recently has been anywhere between 6 and 17 cents a kilowatt hour, as long as you're getting a new roof and adding a battery.
Right.
And it depended on whether or not someone paid cash or if they finance the system. So there's a, and then equipment, type of equipment people choose to put on the rooftop. So let's say an average, let's just say 14 cents a kilowatt hour. Is what the levelized cost would be for that electricity versus paying 32 cents a kilowatt hour. That's roughly 50 cents or 50% savings, and that's what people are experiencing with NEM 2.0.
Gotcha.
With NEM 3.0, we're going to have to understand loads. Like, it's going to get very granular and very technical because you don't want to buy too much solar, you don't want to buy too little solar.
Yeah.
because of net billing, right? You're
Yeah.
going to pay the utility for this block of energy that you use here,
Yeah.
but you're still making a solar payment to cover here,
Yeah.
you know, the usage
I love that
and
analogy.
production,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's huge.
It's a massive thing, and it's going to force people to get batteries.
So how much is the battery? You were telling me. Go ahead.
Yeah, $15,000 to $24,000, depending on the battery.
$15,000 to $24,000.
Those are cash prices.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And it really does depend on the battery you get and how much how many batteries you get, you know.
So really the only way to get the 2.0 pricing, in a sense, right? The benefits.
Right.
When 3.0, after April 14th, is to get a battery.
Sorry, say that again?
Sure. Right. So in order to get the similar benefits like I have under 2.0, right? So you call that,
yes.
what's it called? GE 2.0? You should see my...
NEM, net metering, NEM 2.0.
NEM 2.0, right? To get that same types of benefits under 3.0 because of the Head and Shoulders, right? And you know in the monthly buybacks and the 5%, right, or 5 cent, you really need a battery, which is going to cost you another $15,000 to $24,000. Right. And that way you can store your own energy, and that's how you get the similar benefits. But it's going to be a lot more expensive. Am I understanding this right?
Yeah, it'll feel like that. But what happens, so even right now, with what happens with a battery and solar, is the first thing that happens as soon as the sun rises, it's going to power your demand that you have, which is probably very low. You see a little spike when everyone's waking up, getting ready, and then they leave the house. And then the house sits empty, and the sun's producing all this energy. The first thing it's going to do is load up the battery. Top it off from the night before. The battery stores anywhere from 10 to 20 kilowatt hours of energy, which for some, that's a day's worth and then some. For high energy users, that's one battery is not going to sustain them through a power outage.
Okay. It's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's $15,000.
For one battery, yeah. For one battery. For the more expensive batteries with higher capacity, storage capacity, those then become a little bit more expensive, and then you're paying for different types of equipment and different chemistry and chemical makeup of the batteries. So that being said, that's really like too granular for what you're trying to share with your
right here. My mind's going. I'm like, wow, I'm so confused.
Yeah.
That's huge. But I guess the bottom line is if you're thinking of getting solar, you really want to do it before 3.0 comes out, April 14th or 15th.
Yeah, right? And if not, then you certainly want to get a battery.
Right, or you're gonna have, or it's almost automatically to go up 15 to 20,000, unless. Which you're right. I hate to say this, right, but I go to a lot of my experiences is that people. I mean, the main reason is to save money when it comes to solar. In order to save the most money, go ahead. What were you going to say? Were you going to say something?
Well, speaking of money, speaking of money, there is the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act that was passed in August, extended the federal ITC, which is the federal tax credit for going solar.
Great.
Out for another 10 years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And and they increased the tax credit amount from 26% to 30%.
Oh, that's great. So that's great news.
Yeah, that's great news.
Okay.
That can be a difference of several hundred to several $1,000s for certain homeowners.
Does that still include the roof though? If you did the roof, were there changes there on the roof?
Yeah, they've kind of changed the roof. It's a gray
so consult the CPA on the roof, basically.
Yeah, you would consult your CPA.
Okay, awesome.
But that being said, it's a dollar for dollar tax reduction of your tax liability. when you get the solar. It's not a rebate. It's not like here's a check, Paul. You paid $30,000 for your solar system, and you're going to get $9,000 back because you went solar. Here you go. It's not like that. You have to have the tax appetite to be able to claim the tax credit. And when you finance a solar system or purchase it, then specifically with financing, if you finance it, the lenders want you to take that tax credit and buy down the loan and keep it, your monthly payment locked in at the lower monthly, we call it the promotional period. Otherwise, it'll go up to 100%, and then it goes up to 30% if somebody goes, well, I'm going to just take this tax like if they are eligible for it, and get it in the form of a tax refund because they overpaid on the taxes.
Yeah.
They might want to go do something else with that money and just let the loan reamortize. But they need to be aware that that's happening. That happens when you're going to have to go back. I said happens like 3 times. That will happen if someone finances a solar system. If someone leases the system, they don't qualify for the tax credit. They will not get it. But usually that means that it's a 25-year lease where they don't have to worry about the equipment whatsoever, including the battery. But what happens is they start out at a lower monthly payment than usually what they're paying to the utility company. They're still getting all the power that they need from the utility, but it just escalates every year 3%, which is still below inflation,
right?
And still way below what the utility rates increase at, which is 8 to 15% year after year.
Okay. Before we go there, though, let me just.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to get locked into 2.0,
yes,
what's the minimum action that needs to happen for them to guarantee to get 2.0, not get pushed into 3.0?
The minimum action is that they have to sign a solar agreement or contract with the installer, and that installer will submit the net energy metering application to the utility company with a single line drawing, which is an electrical term or electrical drawing of what's happening to that house.
Okay, so
solar-wise.
So you have to sign the contract. There has to be a drawing, and it has to be submitted. Right?
Yes, just submitted.
Just submitted.
Not approved, just submitted.
All right, how long does that take?
I mean, let's say you and I were sitting down and you're like, Jamie, sign me up.
Uh-huh.
It's a matter of signing the solar agreement.
Okay.
Well, you agree on the price and you agree on all the things, but you sign the agreement.
Okay.
You also sign with that a 24-page document that the CPUC puts out. That's a California Consumer Protection Guide.
Okay.
Everyone has to sign it.
Okay.
Or even to be approved.
Right.
So you sign that. You sign the solar agreement. If you finance it, you sign the loan docs.
Right.
And then you submit that with, and I would submit that with your utility bill to the installer, and then they will take all that and get to work. So that whole process right there could take 30 minutes.
Even the loan docs?
Yeah, I mean, if they sign them right away,
so
everything.
Let's just say, literally, we never met, and I just go, Jamie, I want solar. And let's just say you already knew which one I wanted, right?
Right.
I mean, how long does it take from there to generate loan documents to get it signed? Can that all happen in one day?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I didn't know that.
Less than 5 minutes for a loan approval if they finance.
Okay.
That gets sent directly from the lender to the homeowner. So all I do is help the homeowner get the pre-approval.
Okay.
The homeowner gets directly sent the loan application documents to fill out and sign, DocuSign.
Okay.
The agreement, the only thing that would delay anything is if they are the sticklers, the type that read everything on the agreement and the 24-page document, and they take 2 weeks to sign it and pass it through their CPA and their lawyers. There are people like that, and
which is great.
You have to respect that.
But they need to get to you, right, with plenty of time to review everything, because if there's
Yeah.
And then you submit it
to answer your question, I would say get us all in, like really try and make this decision and sign everything, I would say 2 weeks prior to the deadline, so the beginning of April. That's to give the installer the time to actually have the electrical drawings drawn up,
Okay.
the application submitted through their utility portals, and everything, all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. Your 3-day cancellation period has passed.
Right.
That's what it is. 5 days for people that are 65 years old and older, they have 5 days to cancel instead of the 3. But very rarely do people actually cancel their payments. Yeah.
But they have that time. Okay, so April 1st. Let's just say April 1st.
Yeah.
That's when they need to have a system that they know they want, and start the process of applying it. That's pretty safe. Because if they miss it, it's a huge deal if they miss it.
Oh yeah, if it's a huge deal and they miss it, then me, being the professional that I am, we would actually probably pause, not cancel the agreement, but do a change order to make sure that their system is going to be the most economical for them in terms of the net billing and not underproducing, not overproducing, but it's like the Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Just they want your system just right. You don't want it too small. You don't want it too big.
Because you may be, because of those flows, the monthly net is what you
right.
Okay, that makes sense. That's crazy. Totally awesome. So.
And I will say, going back to the roof portion and tax credit.
Right. Yeah.
That's a great area. You consult your CPA, but if you structurally need it for the roof structurally needs it because the solar company is not going to put solar on a sound roof. So what often people will do is include the roof replacement. The solar will cover the roof replacement. So the solar costs now go up.
Say that again.
Because So what people will do is they'll get the roof included with the solar.
Okay.
In the solar contract.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
So in the solar contract with the financing, you can finance the roof.
You can finance roofs. You can finance main panel upgrades. You can finance batteries with solar as well. Yeah.
So just to be clear, though, let's say somebody out there needs a roof. Well, they better get on it, right? Because they need to get bids and stuff like that to see how much they're going to be financing. But none of the construction needs to happen in order for them to be under 2.0. They just have to have the paperwork filed with you in what you just described.
Yeah, and a lot of the solar companies either are roofing, have a roofing department, or they subcontract roofing out to people that are already onboarded, so that they can work together. Because when you finance a roof with the solar project, the roofer and the solar company are in agreement that the solar company will pay the roofer once the solar hits the rooftop.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, it's just the way that the loans work and everything, the payment, the cash flow works. And then the other thing that I would say, though, is just for people that are thinking of solar, but not thinking of batteries. Paul, we got the storm warning, right? Today, we're supposed to have this very ferocious, powerful windstorm come through. And there's going to be flooding, and there might be loss of life, there might be power outages, trees down, yada, yada. And if you have solar and you don't have a battery, your system will rapidly shut down for safety purposes.
Really?
So in the event of a power outage, even if you have solar, you have no power, even in the middle of the day. So that's one thing. Some homeowners have generators. Some people have batteries. If you have batteries, then you want to still go into conservation mode because you'll drain the batteries pretty fast. And we don't know how long power will be out. So even if you go NEM 2.0 and you are prone to power outages, it's a smart thing. It's a good idea. Peace of mind. It's insurance that you're still going to be okay.
Right.
You're not going to lose your fridge food or freezer food. You're going to be able to use some lights and keep your phone powered.
It's happened to me.
Things like that. And all the add-ons qualify for the tax credit too.
Okay. What have I not asked you, Jamie?
Oh, you have not asked me. Well, how if we get this locked in by April 1st, but it doesn't have to be constructed? How long do we have to construct and pass final inspection and get interconnection? You haven't asked me that.
There it is.
All.
That's the question I just asked you, Jamie.
The utilities are giving 3 years for everything to be completed, which seems generous. To get grandfathered
3 years is a long time, right?
3 years is a long time.
Okay. So would you recommend, let's say you're just on the fence of getting solar, would you recommend getting locked in? Can you cancel? Can you cancel like 2 months?
You can cancel, but then you can cancel, but then if you decide, oh, man, I should have gotten solar, you're going to be under NEM 3.0, and it is not as favorable. It's still going to save Californians money on their energy costs,
but it's not going to be.
It's not even going to be the same as what NEM 2.0 is.
I mean, I don't know. I'm going to call all my friends, family, clients, and stuff like that. If they're considering it, I would recommend, even if they're like on the fence, because I believe, after talking to you and after talking to you last week or Monday, whatever day it was, is that once 3.0 comes in, it's a whole different calculation. And it's just, and that number one goal of saving money may not be as, attractive, right?
Let me add one more thing that's interesting, and I don't have the exact numbers, but under NEM 3.0, the only like little silver lining of it is under NEM 3.0, if you get the battery, you get the call. Battery technology and the energy company can be set up in such a way that if the power company goes, oh, Mr. Oberance, you have a battery and it has 10 kilowatts of power in it, we would like to pay you $2 a kilowatt hour for us to take the power from your battery during peak hours and give it to your neighbors.
Is that good? I mean, I don't know. Like,
I mean, this is the way for the PUC and the utility companies to say, hey, we'll give you more 200 or whatever. $2 instead of charging you 35 cents or whatever it is for power. We want to take it from you rather than paying for all the generation.
Right.
Because all the power plants, they burn the coal, they burn the gas. We don't have nuclear. Well, I think there's nuclear down in Hanford, but we don't have nuclear. Nuclear technically is the cleanest form of energy as long as it can. It's so easy to say it's contained, but we seem to mean meltdown and disaster. That it's still people are not comfortable with that, but to generate all that power, it still has to travel hundreds and hundreds of miles. And by the time it reaches your house, it's already lost 2/3 of the actual energy that was actually burned or generated. So when you have the solar, it's right on your rooftop.
That's still
very little transmission.
Still huge. What? So I know there's one more question. I know it is. We talked about it. Yes. So I'm a consumer, right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking for a reputable solar. Now I can tell you that from my experiences, and we shopped around for solar. Actually, before we met you, we got solar on my other house, and there's so many bad experiences I had. For example, a lot of people, I don't want to say they try to trick us on the loan. I don't believe they try to trick us, but they didn't understand the whole loan, so we backed out. And, there's all these different people. There's stories out there of malfunctions, but they bought it from a really discounted online lender. Now they can't get a hold of people to fix it. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. And I'll tell you, I don't know exactly what happened, but we had somebody come out to our house about a week ago, make a quick adjustment, and left. So someone's always monitoring my solar, thanks to you, right? But I don't think that's I don't think that's really what's going on with everybody. So how would you recommend people shop for solar? I mean, does that make sense what I'm asking? Like, I'm just going to tell you people should go to you, right? But why? I don't want to say why you, because I know why you, but tell me why you.
Well, because I'm partnered up and aligned with some of the strongest solar installation companies in California that I know of and I vetted. And I've worked with a handful of different companies, and there are some of those I don't work with any longer.
Why not?
One, because they subcontract out the subcontracted job.
Okay, so you have somebody subcontracting people on my roof, putting solar on my house.
Yeah, you could be a general contractor.
Yeah, okay.
Right. You could be a general contractor and subcontract that out. And who's to say that subcontractor is not going to subcontract it out to somebody else?
Right. And by the way, in order to do that, they have to keep getting cheaper and cheaper because they have to make their money. Right? All right.
Right. So that's one thing.
That's huge.
Check and make sure that they're a reputable company.
Right.
Make sure that they're a strong company too. That they're financially strong. That might be harder because a lot of these are privately held companies, but the publicly traded companies are going to be your SunPower, Sunrun, things like that. I think there's one other one that's a publicly traded. I technically can sell SunPower.
Okay.
In California. I can't say it's been the best client experience for my homeowners that went SunPower, and so therefore I haven't continued doing business with SunPower.
Gotcha.
So just make sure they've been around and in business for at least 5 years.
Okay. So they're just not trying to start up this month because of the next 3-month crunch? Is that what you're saying? 4-month crunch?
Warren Buffett never invested in startups.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
I just learned that today. Warren Buffett has never been a CEO, and he's never been an investor in startups. He waits till the model's proven. So that would be my recommendation to you. Be careful if the solar representative is brand new to the industry. Not to say that they're not good,
Sure.
but they haven't been through the cycle of enough solar installations to know where to step in on the behalf of the homeowner and be the squeaky wheel to get things done.
That makes sense.
Because at the end of the day, it's a construction project.
Yeah.
Right?
You did come to my house quite a few times. That was awesome. I love that. To check on
Whenever
things.
it's a local installation, within a couple hours, I try and get. I mean, I had a homeowner come go through solar with me through. They found me through YouTube. They live in Roseville. I drove out to Roseville to the installation.
That's
And they're like so happy to meet me. But so that's important, and make sure that they're using reputable solar equipment. So in the last 2 years, 2 major solar panel players, LG and Panasonic, exited the solar panel manufacturing game.
It's crazy.
And they were premium panels that homeowners, because of the research on the internet, and because some internet site said, with really well optimized SEO, said these are the best solar panels. They're gone. They're out of the market.
That's crazy.
So just make sure that whatever equipment you're going with is the right equipment. We could talk pricing here and there, but it's going to swing pretty wide.
Right.
It's not you're not just wanting the cheapest price because that you can get it. You want to work with someone that's going to be with you through the. In California, it's going to be probably 3 to almost 9 month process, depending on what you're having done to your house.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. So it takes about 3 to 9 months to get that solar on. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are what I would say. That's what you're going to look for is a strong company that's been in business for more than 5 years, has good warranties, workmanship, production, things like that. And someone, hopefully you're working with someone that's been in this industry for some time.
That's awesome. Well,
yeah. That being said, I have new people that I'm working with and training them up and trying to make them the best that they can. And so don't discount the little guy. But that being said, you do want someone with experience who knows how to get answers.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I say that with loans, with real estate. If you're brand new, that's okay. Just you have to be a part of a team. That's someone that's going to mentor you, because there's a big difference between someone that's done 2 loans and someone that's done 1,000 loans. There's just an experience level that you can't teach, right? That's the same with solar too. it's, you know, I can only imagine all the stuff you go to. Do you have a Calendly link or a link for people to book appointments that they can click and just make an appointment with you and just go over? Now, go ahead, Jamie.
The best thing is just to go to my website, which is jamiegreenthesolarqueen.com. I'll give that to you so you can share it out. But that will give it'll give people the opportunity to fill out a little bit of information so that I understand your home. Because we have to understand your home, and I have to understand the energy usage.
Right. So you got to get a bill.
Yeah.
What else do you need to get? I mean, your address.
12 months of historic data is the best.
So 12 months of PG&E bills?
Yeah, PG&E bills, or better yet, the kilowatt hour usage. And there's several ways we can get that information.
Okay.
So, but that's really key, because then we're making sure we're sizing the system properly.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Because you don't want to undersize the system and then be left hanging in paying the utility company and that true up when you don't have to.
Right.
Like, you know.
Absolutely. And then if they do that, they can just get a consultation with you. Is that right? Kind of figure out what it is. Okay. That's awesome.
Yep, and then we can do it virtually, over Zoom, on the phone, or if you're local to me, we can meet in person if you want.
All right, Jamie. You're the best. I really appreciate your time. And thank you. I really appreciate you for bringing this to my attention, simply because I had no idea.
That's my fault, Paul, because I didn't let you know that soon enough. But this did just pass December 13th.
Yeah, I mean,
so 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
And so we have 3 months to really bring awareness to all the Californians. This applies also, just it applies to businesses too.
Okay, so business.
You're not immune from this. Yeah.
So if you're gonna get solar, you better get on it.
You better do it, yeah.
Awesome, Jamie. So everyone, I have the information in the email. And yeah, if you are thinking or considering getting solar, you have to reach out. And by the way, the one thing though, I always wish people, especially getting pre-approved, it's free to have a conversation with me. It makes much more sense than doing your own research. There's so much things out there on loans. That's the same with solar. It's like, just book a 15-minute appointment with Jamie. Just give her your stuff first, right? Because it doesn't make sense to guess what your kilowatt hour is, because I have no idea what mine is. Give her the 12 months statements. Let her do a review for you, and let her show your options. So, that's awesome. Right on, Jamie. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you too, Paul.